Hello, welcome to the presentation on the topic entitled Tomato Products. This episode consists of 5 divisions. They are origin of tomato, nutrients of tomato, tomato processing, processed tomato products and market potential. Let us see one by one. Origin of tomato. Tomato is one of the most commonly utilizing vegetables in daily food products around the world. The tomato is a native of the lower Andes, cultivated by the Aztec in Mexico. In Aztec world, tomato means simply pulp fruit, and in the Spanish called it tomate. The tomato along with maize, potatoes, chili, peppers and sweet potatoes was introduced to Spain in the early 16th century with the voyage of Columbus. The tomato probably arrived first in Seville, a major center of international trade, especially with Italy. In 1544, the Italian herbalist Matthioli referred to the yellow fruits of the tomato plants as the golden apple, and later in 1554 he mentioned a red variety of Dordens. A Dutch herbalist gave a detailed descriptions in the 1554, and the fruit earned a reputation as an aphrodisiac. Also, the tomato explains as Pomodoro in French, Pomodoro in Italian, and the love apple in English. During 1692, Spanish style published Neapolitan recipe for tomato sauce. The transformation from herbal to a common culinary ingredient began slowly in the 1700s. National and international dietary guidelines recommend as healthy diet as an increased consumption of fruits and vegetables so that we eat at least 5 servings a day. Tomatoes are fabulous fruits for a quick, healthy, nutritious snack or as part of a creative recipe. Nutrients of tomato. Tomato is a rich source of minerals, vitamins, organic acid, essential amino acids and dietary fibers. Tomato is known as productive as well as protective food. It is a rich source of vitamin A, vitamin C and folate. It also contains minerals like iron, phosphorus. Tomato contains lycopene and beta-carotene pigments. It is also believed that it gives protection from or reduces the risk of contracting chronic degenerative diseases. Tomato is the principal source of lycopene in our diet. It had been found to be a significant potent antioxidant with a quenching rate constant on singlet oxygen almost twice as high as that of beta-carotene. Regular consumption of tomato in our diet could provide protection against a broad range of epithelial cancers and cardiovascular diseases. The consumers are sensitive to health and diet. Thus, food product processors had provided an opportunity to enlarge the tomato processing industry and established a market for pharmaceutical grade. Thereby, an added value to tomato production was generated. Tomatoes are also the most important source in the diet of red pigment called lycopene, which has antioxidant properties and may be anticarcinogenic. Higher plasma lycopene levels are associated with reduced incidence of some cancers, especially prostate cancers. Uptake into the body depends on the type of products consumed. Lycopene uptake into the blood plasma is significantly higher when derived from heat processed tomato products than when its same amount is eaten as a fresh tomatoes. Likewise, the bioavailability of the lycopene from heat processed tomato juice is greater than from raw tomato juice. Tomato is also a key role for the carotenoid diet in human. The improvement in quality of tomato attributes towards the content of antioxidants and various health factors related to this fruit or vegetables need to be seriously considered. A higher level of antioxidant in the factory grade for fruit is desired during the processing for higher preservation of antioxidant activity. The next one, tomato processing. There is constant demand for tomato processing usually arises to preserve the tomato products for home use, inclusion in stews, soups, curries, etc. out of season or to add value for extra income. Traditionally, the most important methods for tomato processing used concentration and drying either fruit pieces or to a powder. These methods remain in the most suitable process for many people to use and form the bulk of this brief. In addition, you will find information for making ketchup, chutney, juice, tomato jam. It should be noted that high quality salad tomatoes have the highest value when sold fresh and in good condition. These would not normally be used for processing unless for home use to save excess at height of the season. Raw material quality. Tomatoes' qualities are an important to process tomato products. The tomatoes should be ripe, red, firm to soft, free of all mold growth and free of stems, leaves, dirt and soils. The underripe fruit can be left to ripen and used at a later date. It is less important if the tomatoes have surface blemishes or split or crack, as in most processes they will be cut or pulped. Drying. Traditional method in hot, dry regions include sun drying. Tomatoes are halved and either placed on a clean flat surface with the cut side facing up or threaded onto the strings which hangs in the sun form a branch or beam. In both cases, drying is relatively rapid, which depending on the temperature and humidity of the air, but there may be contamination of the products by insects, dirt and dust. This can be reduced by covering the tomatoes with the fine muslin cloth or mosquito netting. The end product is dark, red, leathery pieces with a strong tomato flavors. Rehydration of the dried tomatoes is relatively slow, but this may not be important in cooking applications. Provided that the humidity is low, the dried product will keep without special packing for several months. If the humidity rises, the product will go mouldy and should be protected either by suitable packing, example sealed plastic bags, preferably polypropylene or thick polyethylene, or in sealed pottery jars. Alternatively, the pieces can be dried slowly over a fire to allow moisture content. It is important that the tomatoes are far enough away from the fire, since pieces will be fully dried when they are hard and brittle. Preparation of tomato pulp. Tomato pulp can be prepared using a pestle and mortar, some types of mill and moly machine or a small pulping machine. It is usually necessary to remove the seeds and skins, which can be done by sieving through a medium mesh. The size is 1 to 2 millimeter holes, or in the case of pulpers, skin parts are separated by the machine. The pulp can be used for a number of different products to make a concentrated puree or paste, jam, juice or fruit leather. Tomato pulp can be boiled to evaporate the water. Depending on how much water is removed and what other ingredients are mixed into the pulp, it is possible to make a variety of products. Tomatoes are consumed either fresh or processed products. Tomato processing method is very important to preserve for a long time. The large and small industrial units are engaged in the processing of tomato in various forms at a using temperature gradient of 70 degrees centigrade to isolate, peel and seed from the pulp. There are many methods of tomato processing involving engineering and technological means. Cold pulping process. A process called cold pulping is one important method to remove pulp without affecting on tomato seeds. This method is an ample scope of exploring the ways to establish a machine which may be operate under normal temperature to isolate pulp, seed and skin from fresh tomato crop, avoiding heating activity. The machine parameters such as the size of rollers, roller surface, flat and serrated variation in clearance and rational speed should maintain for proper experimentation of cold pulping of tomato. The crop parameters such as variety, ripeness and redness, size of fruit, physicochemical characteristics, etc. Green agriculture is another factor commanding and demanding endeavor to develop such as machine which could extract pulp under normal temperature conditions and be able to avoid seed rupture during processing activity, thus saving seed viability. Also, the machine should develop increased pulping rate and percentage by efficiently removing peel during the extracting and spinning process. High pressure processing. Another new technological method, high pressure processing. It is a non-thermal food processing technology that allows tomato based products with a longer shelf life and safer, preserving nutrients, fresh taste and appearance. On this sector of vegetables derived products, the pressure range used is between 65,000 to 67 psi and 87,000 psi over 1 to 5 minutes at refrigerated or room temperature. Regarding to a physicochemical effect on food, the high pressure processing technology is softer than a thermal treatment. It does not break or create covalent bonds and does not create a new compounds by molecule degradation such as in a conventional thermal process. However, high pressure processing is able to break or create weak bonds like hydrophobic and electrostatic interactions. Therefore, only macromolecules such as proteins and polysaccharides are present in this technique. It allows microorganisms inactivation without modifying the food nutritional quality and without significantly altering enzymatic activities. To minimize the growth of residual microorganisms, the enzymatic reactions and changes in the sensory attributes, tomato products must be stored at chilled temperature. There are many reasons that make the high pressure processing technology beneficial. Safer food products with a longer shelf life with the inactivation of vegetation microorganisms like bacteria, yeast and molds. Sensory food quality is maintained keeping the fresh-like taste of homemade products. Nutritional quality is preserved. This process permits removal of chemical preservatives. Tomato acidity. Although tomatoes are considered a high acid food, that is pH below 4.6, certain conditions and varieties can produce tomatoes and tomato products with pH values above 4.6. When this happens, the product must be canned in a pressure canner as a low acid products are acidified to pH of 4.6 or lower with lemon juice or citric acid. Research has found several conditions that can reduce the acidity of tomatoes. These include decay or damage caused by bruise, cracks, blossom end rot or insects, and over ripening. Tomatoes grown in the shade ripened in shorter hours of daylight or ripened off the vine tend to be lower in acidity than those ripened in direct sunlight on the vine. Also, tomatoes attached to dead vines at or west are considerably less acidic than tomatoes harvested from healthy vines. Decayed or damaged tomatoes and those harvested from frost-killed or dead vines should not be home canned. To ensure safe acidity in whole, crushed or juiced tomatoes, add lemon juice or citric acid when processing in a boiling water bath. Add 2 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice or half teaspoon of citric acid per quarter of tomatoes. For pints, use 1 tablespoon bottled lemon juice or quarter tablespoon citric acid. Acid can be added directly to the jars before filling with products. Add sugar to offset the taste if desired. 4 tablespoons of 5% acidity vinegar per quarter can be used instead of lemon juice or citric acid. However, vinegar may cause undesirable flavor changes. Processed tomato products. Tomato is a valuable raw material used for processed products such as juice, puree, paste, ketchup or sauce and canned whole. Among these products, puree, juice, ketchup are commonly used commodities in households, hotels and restaurants. These items are used to enhance the taste of different food products. Tomato puree is used as substitute a fresh tomato in cooking. Ketchup is a sweetener and diluted version of puree. Tomato sauce tastes sweet and sour. Both sauce and ketchup are consumed with food and snacks. Process carefully to avoid spoilage. The most common reasons for spoilage in home canned tomato products are under processing and incomplete seals. Tomatoes that have not been processed long enough to destroy molds and heat resistant bacteria may spoil during storage. One of the most common spoilage organisms, Bacillus coagulans, is very heat resistant and causes flat sore spoilage. The jar lid may still be sealed and the product may appear normal, but the tomatoes will smell sour because of lactic acid produced by the growth of Bacillus coagulans in the product. Never use tomatoes or tomato juices with off odors. Molds can grow on the surface of improperly processed tomato products and may eventually reduce the acidity to a point where botulism producing spores can grow and produce a deadly toxin. Because even minute amounts of botulism toxin can cause a fatal illness. Discard without tasting any canned products that show mold growth on the surface. Discard them where they cannot be eaten by other people or animals. The processing times in this fact sheet are designed to ensure sufficient destructions of bacteria and molds. Where appropriate processing recommendations for both water bath and pressure canning are given. In general, a pressure canner results in higher quality and more nutritious canned tomato products. Preparation of tomato products. Tomato juice. Fully ripe, well-developed colored tomatoes are washed, trimmed, steamed, crushed in a crusher or cut into pieces with knives. The crushed pieces are heated in the steam-jacketed kettle till they become quite softened. The heated tomatoes are passed through the pulping machine using a fine mesh sieves to separate juice from seeds, and salt at 1% is added and heated to 85 to 90 degrees centigrade. The hot juice is then filled in bottles, sealed immediately and processed sterilized in boiling water for about 30 minutes and cooled. Tomato puree. The juice obtained as above is concentrated under vacuum to about 9% to 12% total solids so as to get tomato puree. The product is filled in bottles, corked and processed in boiling water for 30 minutes and cooled. Next, tomato ketchup. The juice obtained as above is concentrated with spices, salt, sugar, etc. The spices like cloves, cardamom, pepper, cinnamon and other ingredients etc. are tied loosely in a muslin cloth and placed in boiling juice in steam-jacketed kettle. The sugar, salt and vinegar or acetic acid etc. are added later on. Generally, concentration is done threefold. It is concentrated to 28 to 30% solids, in which 12% are tomato solids. The final product could be preserved by addition of sodium benzoate at 750 ppm. The tomato ketchup is filled hot into clean, dry bottles, corked and processed in boiling water for 30 minutes and cooled at room temperature. Quality control and standards. The manufacture of processed fruits and vegetables is controlled by the Fruit Products Order FPO 1955 of the Government of India. The Fruit Products Order 1955 is mandatory for tomato products. The FPO specifications are as follows: tomato juice 5% total solids, tomato puree 9% total solids, sodium benzoate 250 ppm, tomato ketchup 25% total solids, acidity 1%, sodium benzoate 750 ppm. The Bureau of Indian Standard has laid down the following specification for tomato products: tomato juice IS 3881 1966, tomato ketchup IS 3882 1966, tomato puree IS 3883 1966. The next topic, market potential. Due to increasing standard of living in the cities and rapid urbanization taking place in the rural areas, consumption of tomato-based product is expected to go up steadily. At present, the market of ketchup or puree, especially in the urban area, is dominated by brands like Maggi and Kissan. Some medium and small companies are also engaged in its production. Estimated production of puree, sauce, ketchup in North India was around 12,000 metric ton in 2005. The estimated demand for the products for the same period was 10,000 metric ton, which is expected to grow up to 20,000 metric ton by 2020. Thus, there is ample scope for a unit to come up in this product sector to cater especially to the semi-urban and rural sectors of India. Tomato processing in India is still not very significant. Recently, there was a steady rise in production due to the entry of multinational with better market infrastructure and sales promotion companies. With high fluctuations in market prices of fresh tomatoes in the urban market, there are good prospects for tomato juices and tomato puree in places of fresh tomatoes in households sector. Beside the boom in the food service sector, including fast food chain, has widened the demand potential for tomato ketchup and soups. Experiments have shown that advertisement and publicity have influenced the pattern of consumption of tomato products. Besides, tomato products have good export potential, especially in the Middle East. Import trends. Recently, trends in processed tomato products imports in 1999. Total imports of processed tomato products up 1,93,082 tons. Among these, imports of tomato puree and tomato paste increased 98,794 tons. A look at trends in imports in the medium term shows that imports of processed tomato products have been steadily rising in recent years. Byproducts, tomato puree and tomato paste account for 50 to 60% of imports, with the remainder consisting of tomato ketchup, tomato juice, etc. The liberalization of tomato puree and tomato paste in 1972 led to a drop in domestic production of processing used tomatoes and a decline in production of fresh tomato juice using domestic ingredients, fresh tomato directly juiced. At the present time, the majority of the processed tomato products are made using imported intermediate ingredients such as tomato puree and tomato paste. Conclusion: tomato is one of the most commonly utilizing vegetable in daily food product around the world. It contains special nutrient values enriched with different minerals, vitamins, organic acid, essential amino acid, and dietary fibers. It is a rich source of vitamin A, vitamin C, and folate. It also contains minerals like iron, phosphorus. Tomato contains lycopene and beta-carotene pigments. Tomato processing is very important step in the preparation of tomato products because tomato products should be able to keep for a long time. Traditionally, the most important methods used are concentration to a paste or puree and drying either fruit pieces or to a powder. Processed tomato can be used for processed products such as juice, puree and paste, ketchup or sauce, and canned whole. Among these products, puree, juice, ketchup are commonly used commodities in households, hotels, restaurants. Due to increasing standard of living in the cities and the rapid urbanization taking place in the rural areas, consumption of tomatoes based product is expected to go up steadily. Thank you.